talk about some of the people, and then we'll talk about your experience in minicamp. Give me your thoughts on a couple of these guys. You're on the same unit with Christian McCaffrey. And, man, just being out at all those OTA practices, if there was one player on the field that if you said to me, Krug, give me the guy out on the field that really set the tone for the Niners in this OTAs and the minicamp, I would say it's Christian McCaffrey, man. That guy was playing at a breakneck speed. Every run, he's taking it 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. The D linemen are chasing him down. I mean, McCaffrey, it was like, some of the stars sat it out. This guy not only didn't sit it out, it was like he was going to show what level he expects everybody to be at. Mm-hmm. Very much a tone-setting player. What did you think of McCaffrey in the minicamp? He was spectacular.
Man, this was my first time really being around, other than Aaron Jones, being around like a high-profile running back.
That's right. Aaron Jones is a UTEP guy.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's a UTEP guy. And just my first day of even seeing Christian McCaffrey and just being around him, I was like, I see why he's one of the highest paid running back in the NFL. I see why. And it's just how he goes about his business. He's so practical about everything that he does. So I asked him because he's one of those people that I look at his career and I look at the things he's done. It's like, as a running back, who wouldn't want to do the things he's done? He's been 1,000. He had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving when he was with the Carolina Panthers. So it's like one of those things. You're like, dang, man, I'm trying to be like how you are, and just how he goes about his business, is so professional, and I really respect it. And then it translates out there onto the field when he's playing. He's so practical about what he does. If he runs a route the way it shouldn't be ran, he's harder on himself than the coach is on him. And it's just man, I respect that because it shows how great he wants to be, even though he's been in the league for 7 years. It shows how great he is, and that's good. It's good having a mentor like that because he sets the tone for the whole running back room. You got to try to be like Christian McCaffrey when it comes to your mindset of things, when it comes to the game. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey is for sure. Yeah, 1-on-1.
How about the other day in practice, Ron, where Odom gets there maybe a tick early? The officials throw a flag. McCaffrey goes to argue with the officials. Then the play's over. Him and Trent Williams are both over there in front of the official. I mean, it was just that right there just kind of shows you. I mean, it's a throwaway rep in May or June, and McCaffrey's out there, right? Jaw to jaw with the part-time official saying, "Hey, man, he got there early. I mean, I loved it. I love the competitor in him.
Yeah, you gotta love it, and it's just with the whole team in general. Both sides of the ball super competitive. So it's seeing his approach to practice is crazy to me, and I just know his approach to practice is why he's the player he is in the game because it comes so natural to him.
Yeah, no question. Now, you're not the only undrafted free agent, college free agent running back. There's Kalen Laburn, and Laburn's a great story in his own right. He was a 5-star guy, went to Florida State, graduated, transferred to Marshall, just came off a year where he had 300 carries. I mean, Marshall should be investigated for how many times they handed that kid the ball last year. I mean, it was just ridiculous. 31 carries, 36 carries. It was ridiculous how much he ran it. But is it nice having another guy? I know technically you guys are competing, right? And maybe if you make it, he can't, or if he makes it, you won't, possibly. But there's also a chance that you both make it. And there's also a lot of teams around the league, and everybody sees these films. But is it reassuring to have another guy kind of in your exact same shoes at your position, going through all the drills and learning things at the same time? What's it been like having Kalen right there with you?
Yeah, man, it's cool. That's my dog. And it's one of those we're in this together. We're all about getting better. So it's if it's something I'm struggling on, he'll come up to me, give me a little pep talk, hey man, you good. And then if it's something he's mad about or he's struggling with, I'll go up to him hey man, don't even worry about that. You good. And then of course we talk to each other outside of practice, and just how our upbringings are and how everything is, and just knowing him as a person and him knowing me as a person, it's helped us get closer. And I mean, he's a real down to earth dude, and man, it's gonna be fun because I feel even though we're competing against each other, we're making each other better at the same time.
You guys are different backs, though, huh? I mean, he seems like he's real thick in the lower body, real thick legs. He also is a power runner. I look at you as a little bit more of a natural receiver than he is. He may be more of a between the tackles runner. I feel like you're more of a outside runner and a guy who can catch the ball. Now, you mentioned that UTEP didn't throw it a lot, and the one thing, and I mentioned this to your agent, that's what jumped out to me about you in the workouts was how naturally you caught the ball. And when I saw that, I went home and looked at your receiving totals at UTEP, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a natural receiver who they didn't throw the ball to in college. I feel like the coaches at UTEP could have utilized you better as a receiver, but it just wasn't part of their offense. Where did your receiving ability come from, Ron? Because this guy, I mean, this tape is that that you put out during the OTAs and minicamp. I thought maybe your most natural thing was how you caught the ball. You're plucking it with your hands. You're not fighting the ball. You caught it in a crowd. You caught it outside of your body. I mean, you really look natural catching it. Was that something you've been working on a lot? Because looking at your college resume, there's not a lot of receiving reps.
Yeah, I mean, in college, the way our offense was, we always had good receivers. So like, the running back would probably go out into the flat a couple of times, or run like get a swing route a couple of times. But in practice, we were always throwing the ball to the running backs, and so it was one of those things where I was always working on that. And then even whenever I do go work out outside of the facility, or like whenever I have my free time or during the off season, I was always getting with a quarterback or just somebody to throw the ball to. And so it just felt like the more I did it, the more natural it came to me. And like whenever I go out there and I'm catching the ball, I'm not even thinking about it. Like, yeah, sometimes you might drop the ball or things might happen, but for the most part, it's just get your hands up, get it down. It's all like an instinct thing to me. It's just like I just try to make it as natural as possible and make it feel as natural as possible. And I guess you could say that's from like the work that I put in, because I mean I had put in a lot of work with my catching and stuff like that, and I just want to be the best running back. Like coming out of UTEP, you see guys like Aaron Jones, who he goes out, he's at Green Bay, he's making ridiculous catches. He's a receiver and a running back.
He's one of the best receiving running backs in the game right now.
Exactly. So I look at his game and I see the things that he does, and it's just like he always used to tell me too, like whenever in the league, if you can catch the ball as running back, that's a plus. So I was like, okay, that's something I always would just work on, and it's really helped me, and it's starting to show, because now I feel like it's a hidden talent that I had that a lot of people don't know, is that about me catching the ball out the backfield. And I feel like with the 49ers, I feel like I can find my niche in that whenever they get to really throwing the ball and spreading the side and stuff like that. Because Coach Shanahan knows how to work. He knows how to make big plays happen and stuff like that.
Well, I know you're too young for this guy, but man, if you're on YouTube, go YouTube Roger Craig, the ex-49er, who was the original 1,000. He was the first guy to do it before Marshall Faulk, before McCaffrey, before anybody. Roger Craig did it, and it's funny. He was at Nebraska, and they never threw him the ball at Nebraska. But this guy became one of the great receiving running backs, and he just, to me, someday he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he did it, largely as a dominating receiver. And I think there's something that you could definitely take away from doing a deep dive on Roger Craig catching the ball, because he was so prolific at it. Who outside of Leyburn and outside of CMC and Bobby T, is there a player that you feel like has helped you adjust to life in the NFL? Maybe at your position, maybe it's a Debo or a Trent Williams or somebody on defense. Is there a veteran player that's shown interest in you that basically has either said anything to you or pointed anything out to you to help you?
Yeah, so I talk to Elijah Mitchell a lot, and me and him were like super cool, and he just feeding me game about everything and how to go about everything, and I see how he goes about taking care of his body and how he goes about just pretty much being a professional, and like being around him has helped me a lot too, because he's been able just to feed me so much game, and just also help me whenever it comes to like the mental aspect of things. Like, don't think about it too much. Don't get too worked up. Just go out there, play your game, and pretty much let whatever happens happen. So like I feel like we share the same mindset when it comes to certain things, and I've been able to gravitate towards him a lot.